Well, now it's become abundantly clear why Special Prosecutor Jack Smith wanted a pardon. Hold on a second. That's better. Now it's becoming clear why Jack Smith
wanted a pardon before Biden left office.
Viva Fry, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida Rumbler, in my home office, and the news of the day, breaking from Fox News, is that Special Prosecutor Jack Smith was apparently spying, or at least tracking, the private communications of at least a dozen Republican senators.
That's shocking. That is shocking.
Now, this probably comes as a whopping shock to absolutely nobody. We saw the lawlessness of the Biden administration. We saw the lawlessness of the Obama administration. We're going to get back to that. But first, we must refresh our memories as to why Jack Smith desperately wanted a pardon and the fact that he didn't get a pardon before Biden and his auto pen went out of the office.
Yeah, so that famous photograph, what we have now learned, and the government has had, Jack Smith and his prosecutors have had to admit that that was staged, and those top secret classified sheets that all the public saw and said, oh my God, look at those top secret documents, those were placed there by the FBI. What Jack Smith admitted in court this week was that, in his word, they mishandled the classified documents and misrepresented those to the court. Maria, that's a kind way of saying we tampered with the evidence, then we lied to the court about it. And they got caught when President Trump's lawyers and the other co-defendants raised this issue and said, look, the documents here don't match up.
From Politico from earlier this year, left off Biden's list of pardons, Jack Smith. Biden did not issue preemptive pardons to prosecutors and judges whom Trump had rebuked. Special counsel Jack Smith, seen here announcing an indictment of Donald Trump in August 2023, did not receive a preemptive pardon from Joe Biden. Jacqueline Martin, Associated Press, and look at his face, he just looks like a dirty man that smells bad. Among a flurry of last-minute pardons issued by Joe Biden in the final moments of his presidency Monday, a group of names was conspicuously absent: prosecutors and judges who have sought to apply the law to Donald Trump. The framing is so wildly stupid, yeah, because people who only seek to apply the law need preemptive pardons. They were not applying the law, they were abusing of the law to inflict injustices, which is exactly why they wanted and probably needed preemptive pardons, but lo and behold, didn't get them. Trump is frequently mused about seeking revenge on prosecutors like Special Counsel Jack Smith, who led the 2 federal criminal cases against Trump, and Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who brought the New York hush money case that ended in Trump's conviction. Trump has amplified calls for Smith to be thrown in prison, and even said he should be, quote, thrown out of the country, end quote. Trump has similarly said, quote, there is a case to be made, end quote, that Bragg should be, quote, prosecuted, end quote. Oh, there is definitely a case to be made, and it's Florida in the month of October, so every now and again we've got rain. And by every now and again, I mean multiple times a day, but it's very soothing, it's very relaxing.
Back to the article.
One reason Biden and his legal advisors may have eschewed pardons for prosecutors and judges is that they may have concluded that pardon protection was unnecessary in light of long-standing immunity principles for certain officials in the judicial system. The Supreme Court has held that prosecutors and judges have broad immunity for anything they do in their official capacities. It's impossible to appreciate the hypocrisy, the double standards, the lack of law application in a fair manner that goes on in the minds of these Democrats. Yet judges and prosecutors have immunity for conduct in the course of their duties, but they fought tooth and nail to deny Donald Trump of presidential immunity. Hypocrisy be thy name, also known as being a Democrat. Now, why would Jack Smith have wanted or needed a pardon? Well, it might be because he was up to illegal no-goodedness that might not fall within the purview of any official duties, and we may have just gotten the evidence of that coming from Dan Bongino as being reported by Fox News. Here's the clip. It's like 19 seconds, and I don't know why it cuts off so abruptly.
Fox News alert. Fox Digital exclusively reporting moments ago the FBI says former special counsel Jack Smith tracked private communications and calls of nearly a dozen Republican senators. This during the January 6th investigation.
But to the article itself, we're missing a lot of the details. It's not really fleshed out yet. Now we're getting more of the reactions from those Republican senators who might have been on the watch list of Jack Smith and understand how Jack Smith abused of the investigative process to surveil members of the GOP. It's kind of exactly like what they did during Russiagate back in 2016. But we'll get there after we go over the facts at hand as we know them as of right now. From Fox News, Republicans? Hawley rips Jack Smith's Biden's Stasi probe, calls alleged spying, quote, abuse of power beyond Watergate, end quote. Missouri senator accuses special counsel of spying on GOP lawmakers during Jan 6 investigation by Greg Wiener. Oh my goodness. Exclusive. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican from Missouri, tore into special counsel Jack Smith, accusing him of, quote, spying on political opponents, end quote, during the Jan 6 probe and calling the alleged surveillance, quote, an abuse of power beyond Watergate, end quote. The FBI, working under Smith's direction, obtained call logs and metadata tied to nearly a dozen GOP senators, including Hawley, as part of its investigation into the Capitol riot, Fox News reported. The tracking involved call records and timestamps, not the content of the conversations. Hawley told Fox News Digital on Monday that the newly released documents suggest that Biden's administration was, quote, spying on the president's political opponents, end quote, which he called, quote, a profound violation of the separation of powers, end quote. Quote, the truth comes out. Biden's Stasi, who claimed to be saving our sacred democracy, in fact worked overtime to destroy it, all for power. They spied on Catholic churches, prosecuted pro-lifers, deployed the FBI against parents and school board meetings, and tried to tap the phones of their political enemies, including mine, end quote, Hawley wrote on X. This is an abuse of power beyond Watergate, beyond J. Edgar Hoover, one that directly strikes at the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the First Amendment, he continued. We need a full investigation of all involved, who knew about it, who ordered it, and who approved it. Anyone and everyone who violated the law must be prosecuted. The way to save the country is to restore the rule of law, end quote. Now there's the old who said it Mark Twain expression, history doesn't repeat but it tends to rhyme. When I had Alex Jones on the channel years ago, he said what blows his mind is that the deep state, these apparatuses, they use the same move over and over again, mutatis mutandis, fit to be applied to the circumstances. When was it that we had an investigation that was used as an excuse to spy on the Trump administration? Oh yeah, it was the Russiagate hoax, when they used FISA courts to spy on Carter Page so they could spy on Donald Trump's candidacy presidency as he was coming into office, and they denied it at the time, of course, because that's what they do. To refresh your memory from CNN Politics, quote, they spied on my campaign, end quote, how Trump transformed a conspiracy theory into a political rallying cry. Now this is from August 29, 2020, but it goes over the Russiagate hoax and what happened then. Conspiracy theory, my ass, only if you're a lying propagandist at the CNN or Politico or whatever. It actually happened. They did it. They wanted to two-step from Carter Page to Donald Trump. They got an illegal FISA warrant where Kevin Kleinsmith lied on the application, submitted evidence to a judge that was falsified to get a renewal of a secret FISA application to spy on Carter Page so they could two-step to spy on Donald Trump. And they call it a conspiracy theory when it's in fact just conspiracy reality. Mutatis mutandis, exactly what Jack Smith did in the Jan 6 investigation, used it as a pretext to spy on GOP lawmakers. President Donald Trump says all the time, quote, they spied on my campaign, end quote. He ad-libbed during his Thursday night convention speech to add the phrase into his prepared remarks, and he tweeted it last week as a rebuttal to former President Barack Obama's convention address. That is not what happened. There are snippets of truth, like the fact that some Trump aides were investigated and surveilled by the FBI, but Trump's exaggerated retelling has become so ubiquitous that it's taken as fact among his political allies and right-wing media cheerleaders. This is how they bury the lead. This is how they bury the truth. It's false. It's a conspiracy theory. There's snippets of truth in it. They spied on Carter Page and other members of his cabinet, and they used that as an excuse to spy on Donald Trump, but it's absolutely false that they wiretapped Trump Towers, because we don't even wiretap anymore. I mean, they spied on him, but they didn't wiretap on him. Oh yeah, did I just say that they didn't spy on him? Well, we're a bunch of lying idiots who can't keep track of our lies. Here's the reality. During the 2016 campaign, Trump aides had extensive contacts with Russian officials and operatives while the Kremlin was meddling in the U.S. election. This raised alarms within the U.S. intelligence community, so the FBI opened an investigation and utilized routine surveillance methods to find out what was going on. Along the way, the FBI made some serious mistakes, but there's no evidence Obama or Biden were personally involved in anything. Well, my goodness, how the truth comes out eventually. Three things cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And now we know exactly what Biden knew. Now we know exactly what Obama knew at the time they were in fact spying on Donald Trump. And now we're finding out they did the exact same thing on Donald Trump, using the January 6 investigations as a pretext to spy on their political opponents. And now the truth is coming out, and Jack Smith is probably sitting there crying like a little baby that he didn't get a pardon from Joe Biden's auto pen on the way out the door. And why might Jack Smith have not gotten a pardon? Oh yeah, the media is going to pretend it's because they benefit from immunity, so they didn't need any pardons. Like what's-his-face, Kinzinger didn't need any pardon. Like Liz Cheney didn't need a pardon but got one anyhow. Like Fauci didn't need a pardon but got one anyhow. There might be a reason why Joe Biden did not pardon Jack Smith, and it might have been that he was angry at some of the members of the judicial process in the way that they went after his son, the smartest man he ever knows. Bottom line, Jack Smith didn't get a pardon. Bottom line, Jack Smith in all likelihood broke the law. Bottom line, the FBI must go go after Jack Smith next. They finally got to Comey, even if it's on 2 small charges, better than nothing. It looks like they're going after Bolton, and now it looks like they have the basis to go after Jack Smith. So Jack Smith, enjoy arguing whatever immunity you got for exercising your functions as an employee, but spying on your political rivals probably did not fit within that ambit. And by the way, if you're still watching, take 30 seconds to like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. YouTube is not even recommending my own videos to my own subscribers, but that doesn't matter. The solution to that is Rumble, and the solution to that is vivabarneslaw.locals.com. But that's what's going on. Jack Smith should be very, very nervous right now, and I am predicting he might very well be the next one to face charges. We shall see. If you like what I do, you know what to do, but most importantly, exercise, eat healthy, sunlight, talk to people in real life, and now you know your vlog. Peace out, peeps. Booyah!